All right, well today we have a little different than the normal council stuff here. We've got a candidate for county legislature. Saladin Allah. Am I pronouncing that right?
Absolutely.
All right, buddy, welcome.
Nice to meet you.
Tell us what's going on in the county. First of all, your background and how you got to the point of saying, I want to run for county legislature.
Okay, so aside from that, I was born on the planet Krypton.
Krypton is a good place.
Okay.
There was one other guy I knew that was born there.
Okay. Well, I've been a community activist and youth mentor here in the city for over 15 years now. So, to go back a little further than that, both of my parents, I was born in a family of 7 children. So we had a large family.
Are you oldest? Youngest?
No, I'm right in the middle.
Right in the middle.
So I've been doing a balancing act for many years now
right.
with my siblings, my older and my younger ones. So I grew up in a household that was very socially, economic, and culturally conscious. My mother, when she was in her 40s, she received her bachelor's degree from Niagara University in psychology and sociology.
Wow.
And so I was very orientated around education at a young age, simply because of that. On my father's side of the family, he was very culturally conscious. We have Tuscarora ancestry, so we spent a lot of time on a reservation growing up, and he exposed me and my brothers and sisters to a lot of different insights about culture and the importance of your legacy and lineage growing up. So I grew up in a household that was very open-minded and very in tune with community, family, and things along those lines. So a lot of the things that I've grown to do as far as youth mentor and community outreach has been just an extension of my foundation as a family.
Excellent. That kind of work, was that with different actual groups or agencies in town, or you did that on your own, or how?
Actually, I went to college at Central State University. That's in Wilberforce, Ohio.
Mm-hmm.
Once I left college, I majored in therapeutic recreation. Once I left college, I came back to the Western New York area, and the people within my community that know me from my community outreach, my youth mentoring programs. One day back in 1999, I got up one morning and I committed myself to just doing youth mentoring. Woke up and I said, you know what? I'm going to find a youth mentor center, and I'm just going to go there and speak to the director and just tell them, can I come in at least once a week and just do a mentor program with the youth? I did that consistently for a year. I didn't care if it was rain. I didn't care if it was snow.
Right.
And after doing that consistently for a year, I started to attend different community forums and get more involved on what was going on in the non-for-profit sector here in the city. Mm-hmm. When I started meeting different people and networking, and they were seeing the things that I was doing voluntarily and just being proactive about making a change and a transformation in the community, people started to offer me opportunities to not only work in different recreational facilities, but also to design my own youth mentorship programs based upon the effectiveness that I was already showing just voluntarily. Mm-hmm. So one of the first programs that I started was called Life After School. And LIFE is just an acronym for Learning Interactive Fundamentals Every Day. And I was doing this program for a couple of years over at the Niagara Arts and Culture Center. You familiar with the Niagara Arts? Okay. So I was doing a program there. From there, I was able to do other programs, one at the Niagara Falls Boys and Girls Club. Even prior to this, I was doing youth mentoring at New Jerusalem Church over on the north end. So
good for you.
Now I'm at the point where I get contracted out, or I get asked to come and do speaking engagements, youth mentorship programs with different organizations, not only in this community, but also in communities in other cities, Philadelphia. I was out in Seattle doing a speaking engagement at South Seattle Community College.
Okay.
And all of this was birthed from just the initiative, the proactiveness, and the will to want to just help and assist. Not because you want notoriety, not because you want money, but because you see a need and you're fulfilling the need. So here I am today, and some people ask me a lot of times, well, why are you running for county legislator? What inspired you to get involved in local politics? And it was actually the people in the community and politicians who encouraged me, because this is an election year. And they said, you know what, I see the community outreach you've been doing for years. I also see the youth mentoring that you've been doing. We need the type of person in our community that has the proactiveness to bring about change and transformation.
Cool.
So here I am.
on the county level, and your district. Let's talk about your district, and we'll talk about what kind of things you think are needed and what you can do.
Well, just being out in the community, talking to people that I don't have the opportunity to see every day. One of the biggest challenges in our district, and I think that a lot of people relate to this in other communities around the country, is that our biggest challenge is ultimately apathy. People's lack of willingness to want to get involved in just not necessarily politics as a political process, but just getting involved in taking ownership, stock, and responsibility in their own communities. Last election year in 2011 for Niagara County Legislature, we had out of 6,000 roughly 150 registered voters. We only had about 997 people come out during an election year. So that translates into about a 16% turnout rate. And like I said, this is an election year. So you can't turn your head without seeing anything about politics, because we were voting on a national level as well.
Right.
So even under those circumstances, you had a very low turnout. So to me, that means one of two things. One, people are apathetic. They don't want to get involved. They don't care about what's going on locally. And number two, you have public officials who are not motivating the people and inspiring them to want to get involved and holding themselves accountable to the people who they're supposed to represent. Like I was speaking earlier before when we were off camera, going out into the community, talking to different people that I don't see every day. Some of the things that I've heard from people, like for example, there's a brother that I met, and he was under the impression that the person that's serving in the seat right now as county legislator is someone that's been out of office years ago. And that's just how out of tune a lot of our voters actually are. So I find myself doing a lot of informative aspects. This is what the county legislator is. This is what the county legislator does. This is who you're supposed to hold accountable for that position and their roles and responsibilities to you as a community. So one of the things is a very important educational piece. People need to know not only how local politics can affect your community and how politics are affecting your community, but who are your representatives? Who can you contact if you have this particular need or this is going on? How do you organize as lobbying groups in order to represent your common cause and to advocate to get things done in your community? And like I said, on a local level, you have a lot more ability to micromanage what's going on in your community in comparison to the regional or the national level, where you have people representing you that you don't see every day. You may not see in your lifetime.
Right.
So that's one thing that I've been encouraging people to do. You have to become more informed. Once you become more informed, then you have a greater level of transparency and accountability upon the people who are supposed to be representing you. So
you think there's an opportunity for you with the current? All right, who's in the seat right now?
His last name is Steed, and it is going to be a three-party race. So it's me, another person that's running. Her name is Kasara, and Steed is the incumbent right now.
And Steed he's the incumbent. He's running again, and you believe you could create a better representation to your community than, obviously, because you just said, dude.
Yeah, and then I wouldn't be here.
I didn't even know he's there.
And I wouldn't be here if I didn't think that our community can do better and we deserve better, especially for our children, because that's one of my main platform goals as far as youth outreach is concerned.
Great. You believe, knowing the makeup of the rest of the legislature, you can make a difference? Do you have relationships within the group, or doesn't that matter? You know what I'm saying? Do you need to?
Alliances matter.
Right.
Alliances matter, and as long as people are advocating for the same common cause, the needs of the community, needs of the people, the needs of our children, needs of our elderly, the needs of our veterans, as long as we can put those issues on the table where we can advocate for one common cause, it doesn't matter what your party affiliation is. It doesn't matter what church you go to. It doesn't matter if your name is World Be Free or Meta World Peace. You know, as long as we're advocating for the same common cause, we should be willing and able to work for what's in the best interest of the people in the community.
Definitely. Good. Your current what do you do during the day here? What are you doing now before you become a legislator here?
Well, I'm campaigning, but other than that, some of my professional background and experiences, I have my own publishing company, so I'm a writer. I published 10 books of my own, and the subject matter is social commentary. So I write about everything from relationships to community to family dynamics to religion to culture, anything that I'm researching or anything that I've been inspired to write about. So with my company, I've been able to also help a lot of local authors get their books published, get their stories out. And then just last year, a person from the community came to me, and she knows that I'm a writer. And she said that her grandchildren were interested in writing and wanting to learn a little bit more. She had initially went to a local recreation center to see if they had any programs available. And there was no success there. She came to me. Within a week, I came up with a full 8-week writers program that I ran out of the Niagara Falls Public Library in the meeting rooms as well as the computer room. And this was all last year. I have a couple friends that works for Source Magazine. You familiar with Source Magazine?
Yeah.
Okay. I have a couple friends that work for Source Magazine. And what I did is I put together a program to teach the youth about career fields in the writing industry, also about the difference between editing, what typesetting means. And at the end of the 8-week period, I published all of their writings in a book. Some of the youth wrote poetry, and this was a group of girls between the ages of 11 and 13, 6 of them. They came up with the name of the book called Our World. I didn't stop there. Once we published the book, you can get it now off of Amazon. You can go to Barnes & Noble. You can go to any bookstore globally and order their book. And then from there, I set up meet and greets because it was important for them. Once you're an author, people are going to want to meet you.
Yeah, exactly.
So I'm getting them encouraged and inspired at a very young age, not only as writers and to look at this as a possible career choice, but also to have them starting to think about being a producer at a young age and not just a consumer. Because a lot of people, to go back into things about what we need in the community, I think a lot of people are under the impression that we need someone to come in and save us. Come and bring us this, come and bring us that, without looking towards each other for the type of support in a local economy where we can pool our skills and resources together in order to support one another. And working with youth at a very young age and getting them orientated to think like producers is the goal, so that once they get older and they start thinking about, well, I want to do this as a career, I'm interested in doing this as a career, they're going to be thinking more along the lines of, I want to have my own business, I want to be a pioneer, I want to continue a legacy of those that came before me, not just get older and want to get a job. You know, so that's and it took very little resources to put a program together like this. You know, I wasn't waiting around to say I need a building or I need somebody to come in and finance me. No, we have the skills, we have the minimal resources to get this done, and this is what you can produce under those circumstances. So this is the type of mentality, this is the type of orientation that I bring to the table as a county legislator, which is not very traditional, because usually a lot of legislators come together and they vote on legislation or they introduce new legislation, but you don't really see a person that is an activist. Someone who has already established a track record in the community, that is doing youth mentoring, that's doing community outreach, and that's able to bring that to the table along with the background with being able to determine policies and procedures. Because one thing about my background too is I worked at the casino for about 8 years, and I worked as a key office administrator in a slot department. So not only did I keep accountability for the keys that all of the employees use to get in and out of the machines, but I also...
You're the guy with the keys. Now look, man, just one night, okay? Just one night. Just, we work a little deal. That's all I need. I got a buddy of mine that actually, I keep saying, just give me that key once.
So, so not only did I do that, but I constantly amended and modified or looked over the policies and procedures in the department, also in the casino as a whole, to see if they line up with the policies and procedures that, you know, the compact that the casino goes by. So, you know, I have a lot of background and experience.
You're not a guy that just sits and goes status quo. You're always looking to move and shake.
I don't let grass grow under my feet.
That's cool. Well, obviously now it's a writing week. Can expect to see a lot of letters to the editor in the next couple of months.
Yeah.
The hub is always a format. If you want to write something and send it over to us, we put up everybody's stuff. Pretty much.
Appreciate that.
What else we got? Anything else you want? A last minute thing that you didn't get in here? I mean, the purpose of this really just to get to know the person. This is great.
Well, the last thing I wanted to mention is one thing that I'm doing that hasn't been done in this district before for county legislator is our campaign team has created our own party line for the general election. And it's called an independent nominating process. So if you get enough signatures from people who are registered voters in your district that haven't signed anyone else's petitions, you can create your own party line. So the party line that we've created also for the general election is called the Niagara Youth Party. And the 4 fundamental principles or the pillars of the party is youth outreach, obviously, localism, and localism is basically the idea that we should invest in each other first, local first, build a local economy, support initiatives that lower the taxes on the tax base that we have right now by putting other people in homes in order to take away a lot of the pressure that a lot of the people feel, especially out in the LaSalle area. Nonviolence, which speaks for itself, and then health and wellness. In the county of Niagara, there's over 60% of the people in this county are either obese or overweight. So you have a health issue here in the county, and there's a lot of other things that I have in store as far as platform goes. And one thing I learned too with politics is you can't tip your hand a little bit too early, because you have people taking your ideas and trying to make it seem like they came up with it. So, some of the things I speak about, generally speaking, and also people are interested in getting in contact with me to stay informed about everything that we're doing with our campaign. They can go to Facebook and Saladin QLI for Niagara County Legislature. They can stay informed and connected to our campaign every step of the way. And then also everything that I'm saying here on this show and everything that I post, they can go back and fact check it too.
Cool.
And the reason I'm mentioning that is because just going out in the community, a lot of people have been asking me the wrong questions. They've been asking me, what are you going to do? What do you hope to do? And I tell them straight up, I can tell you anything right now. And that's what a lot of people do. They sell people hopes, dreams, and aspirations, and you turn around and look and say, that looks nothing like what you said you were going to do. So what I tell them is, ask me what have I done? Ask me what am I doing right now, because that gives you a better assessment of what I have the potential and the tendency and the vision to do once I get in the county legislature. So people want to be informed, they can go to my Facebook page. If they're on Twitter, they can also go to Twitter, and it's the @ Saladin _2013. They can stay informed there as well. And I've just been enjoying this journey. It's been very educational.
Cool.
Very educational.
Well, it's August, so we got September, October, a couple more months. We want to see you again before November.
Okay.
Give us a little update on what's happening.
Okay. I'm actually in the primary though.
All right.
I'm in the primary for September, and it's going to be a write-in.
All right.
So those people who are interested in voting for me, they're going to have to write my name in the actual ballot box, because I did what you call an opportunity to ballot, meaning I opened up the primary so people could vote for me. Me and our campaign team went out and got over 450 signatures of registered Democrats and Working Family Party members in order to open the ballot up, so people will have to vote for me by writing my name in the box.
All right, cool. Now we got to make sure they know how to spell it right.
Absolutely.
That's the key.
Absolutely.
It'd be a lot better if your name was, Sam Smith.
Exactly.
It'd be a lot easier. But,
Exactly.
Well, look, man, let's keep in touch. It's been a real pleasure talking with you, and let's hope that this is a nice launch for you here. All right?
Thank you.
Cool.